update on the car. I got the Powerglide in it. Everything's working, functioning. Trans brakes wired up. Still working on some tune stuff for it, just getting that ironed out. But took it out to play with and do some testing this weekend, yesterday, and it did pretty good. I'm happy with it so far. You'll see some videos in this, some clips in this video, and get an idea. But it does really good long burnouts. But I've still got to dial in the boost, and I've got a couple Mac valves that I'm going to hook up to it and get the Holly controlling the boost a little bit better, because right now there's just no boost control. So, but I put the slicks on the rear, took it out yesterday, goofed around with it for a little bit, did some testing, but ended up calling it an early night because I'm seeing super low oil pressure at high RPM. It's been doing this for a little while, but I don't know if it's just worse with the Glide, but it's sucking the pan dry. It's still got a stock oil pan on it. It was just kind of something that I didn't do when I had the motor out of the car. So now I'm kind of regretting it, but it's all right. So I got a new oil pan for it. I got this 7-quart pan that I'm going to put in it. It's a nice low profile pan. Problem that I'm going to have is that the stock pan on the front of it, this distance right here, this is actually a little bit deeper in this area. And the pan that's on the car, when we did the motor mounts a couple years ago, we literally put a paint stir stick, which is, maybe like, I don't know, an 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch thick, and we set that on the subframe, and then literally set the engine on top of the paint stick, and then tacked up the motor mounts. So that's the distance that I have from the oil pan to the subframe. So this is not going to work. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm probably going to have my buddy cut this oil pan across here, probably back to about here or so, and then bring this whole thing up a little bit. So that's the plan. I may end up, just depending on how close it is, I may end up just seeing if I can tap it, with a big hammer or something, just where it hits the steering rack. But we'll see. Yeah, so that's what we got going on. Got the I don't know if I posted this yet, but I got the bigger brakes in the front. Those are Mercedes brakes, and I think it's a 13-inch rotor, if I'm not mistaken, like a 12.9 or 13-inch rotor. So I will tell you this, I've been told this before, but I just did it and kind of ran with it for yesterday for some testing. But the slicks on the back with the street tires, the radials on the front, it's really sketchy. The whole back of the car sways all over the road, and it's dangerous. I'll be honest. So it's definitely sketchy. So I've got to get a set of 17-inch front runners for this thing so I can ride around on the slicks, because it's sketchy. But for now, I do have my Nittos that I can put on there, and at least I can go cruise around. So anyway, when I get some spare time, I'm gonna pull the motor out and start testing out that oil pan fitment, because obviously I can't take it out and really race it with the oil pressure issue. If you were wondering, I was seeing it would drop as low as 10 to 15 psi at like 6,500 to 7,000 RPM. Basically, once I hit around 6,000 RPM, the oil pressure it starts dropping drastically. So it'll go from 55, 60 psi, and then just steadily just dip down until I think at one point on the log I saw 10 psi. But yeah, but that's what we got going on. The car did pretty good with the Glide. It's got the 390 gear ratio in it right now, and it ran with the draggy in the car. It ran on the street. This was a unprepped road, we weren't really trying to get it to hook up. We were just kind of just goofing around, testing out the Glide and just seeing how the car reacted with it. But leaving off the trans brake, it spun really bad. It did a 1.9 60 foot, and it ran on the draggy. It said it ran an 11.5 in the quarter, and I let off at somewhere around the 1,000 foot mark. It was like a 7.2, I think, in the eighth. So it, I mean, it's not bad. It was on wastegate, which is at like right around 14 to 15 psi, so it's not terrible. I think if I had stayed in it, would have easily been a 10-second run, but it is what it is. I let out because I saw the oil pressure issues. So, but anyway, so I guess that's the update on the Supra, and I'll post all the videos I got from the past 2 days of goofing around with it, and with my buddies and stuff, and you guys can check that out. But anyway, thanks for watching. I'll catch y'all later.
This is the biggest, or should I say longest, burnout ever. Damn.